So we're pleased to announce a completely new inspection app within CIS. And I say new, it is not a revision of the old inspection. So have a look. Under quality processes, we still have our old inspection app available. So if you were to take our new inspection app, you would have all the old data from the previous inspection app, and you would then be able to use the advanced inspection moving forward. Okay? And we won't take away the inspection because you may need it for historical reasons. So what's new in the new section is that we separate in-process and final from incoming inspection, but it starts before that. In the new system, under products, we can now enter and manage the revision of inspection criteria. So for example, if I look at one master product, okay, and I click on edit, we can see when I scroll down here, we can enter the location on the drawing. For example, if we want the inspection type, in process or final, location, process, the criteria, minimum, maximum, additional criteria, and the percent that's required to be inspected per batch. Okay. So we have the similar thing for incoming inspection. So if I look at, for example, raw material, and I were to look at this one here, okay, we have the inspection criteria here. So here, check CFC and the different inspection criteria that are required. Now, more importantly, which is new and pretty interesting, is we keep a separate log of the revisions automatically. So when you make changes to the inspection criteria, it ups the revision of each change. So, you know, the first time it was this, and then changes were made. And as these modifications are made, we capture the date and the time and by whom. And then these are the inspection criteria moving forward. So if we look right now, this is the current active revision. Okay, and you can see that things were changed. CFCs were added on May 27th by myself. Okay, so this is something new. It controls the revisions of all the inspection criteria, which is really nice. Now we go into our advanced inspection. So if we go into in-process inspection, for example, and I'm just going to show you one here, so I'll edit one. You'll notice that once you have the inspection, once you've determined whether it's in process or final, okay, then it'll display all of the inspection criteria that are required. The minimum, the maximum, and the criteria here, the inspection criteria. So in order, when you perform the inspection, you'll actually have a space to enter the results, okay, and then save it. And then you would either accept, reject, or other, or on hold. And then if it's rejected, you can then select from dispositions. And you can modify these, of course. And then you can enter the costs and comments and so on. And you can upload documents for each inspection. So here we could upload any files, pictures, or documents to be associated with this inspection. Okay, and then here, for example, this one had more, I guess. Yes. So this has more areas to enter results because the percentage was higher, 5% versus 2%. So this is how we enter the data into the new inspection system. And what's really nice is that we then get all these inspection reports and graphs. So from a report on incoming inspection, we have incoming inspection performance dashboards, which shows us inspection codes. We have disposition types. So then, you know, if you have the different dispositions for rejections, they would be totaled here. Then you have supplier performance by inspection criteria and supplier performance by batch. Okay, so this is your supplier incoming. And if we go to our in process and final, we would have something similar where we'd have by batch, by inspection criteria, by performance by disposition, and by inspection code. Then we also have graphs, and this is really nice for 2026. So here, if I take, for example, in-process inspection, and I choose my part, and I render my graph, and I can put a date to from, it's going to give me my KPI chart on this, all the inspections that were performed. So here, and then we can get any of the results by highlighting these. That's the minimum. So if we look at the results of those inspections, they would be here. Okay. And then we have a total here, 11 passed, failed, yield is all here. And we have the date range, the part number, and that's the control chart. So then you also have control charts for incoming inspections. So if I were to take, for example, that 304 stainless, and I want to see, which criteria I want to look at, 1, 2, 3, and I render it, it's going to give me this control chart here of all the inspections that were going on, and of course red is rejected. Okay, so we have a lot more graphs that are available to us. We also have monthly quality yield for in-process and final inspection. Again, if I look at in-process this and render it, it's going to give me my yield by month. Okay, so I've only had this working for a month, so that's all that's there. And then we also have our supplier quality performance report card. So if I look at the 304 stainless and render it, I then have my report card and a mean. So this is, if they're out of limits on anything here. And then I would then have my in-process final distribution. So this would be in process. So I'd be looking at this product here. And this would be a review of quality disposition distribution. So when things are rejected, this would be the distribution by quantity by occurrences. Okay. So we also have another chart. Now what's going to be interesting, we also have the same thing for in-process and final quality distribution. So what's really interesting here is that we're going to have a system that'll be available within the weeks that you can set which graphs you want to display, and you can then set a cycle time of 20 seconds or a minute, and you can then it'll show full screen, and it'll cycle through all the graphs that you've within that period, and will only display graphs that have had data in that period. So you'll be able to then cycle through all your KPIs, okay, on the plant floor. So it's intended to work so that you can either have it on the plant floor or in your office on a big screen TV and see all of this information cycle through, and it's updated instantaneously. So as inspections are happening, these charts and graphs will be revised right there on the spot. So this is what's new for 2026. And we look forward to discussing it with you to see how it can help you in your organization.